There is so much that is going on the border right now, especially in the small town of Del Rio. I think it's a town that both of us have been to. 35,000 people there, but you're talking about 10 to 14,000 migrants that have just shown up across the Rio Grande. Lance Curtright is an immigration attorney with DeMont, McChesney, Curtright, and Armendariz. Lance, thank you for joining us. Unpack this for us legally, what we're seeing on the border right now. And have you ever seen anything like this before? Just the sheer numbers that we're talking about underneath that international bridge in Del Rio.
Well, what we're seeing in Del Rio is obviously very challenging. And I'm not sure that we've ever seen all of these people come at one time under one bridge. But certainly we have seen over the past decades influxes of migrants coming from different countries. Haiti is one of them, Central America being others. So this is not the first time we've seen that. But what's different now, I think, is how we're handling them. With the application of Title 42, we're deporting many of these individuals, some of whom want to seek asylum without even giving them a hearing at all. So that's quite different, actually.
So can you explain Title 42? Because somebody who's following along, they probably have seen that in articles or other news stories. That's a unique situation right now. What's in effect there?
So Title 42 is not an immigration law. That's important. It's a health and safety provision that basically says that the Surgeon General, the CDC, cannot allow people in the United States in certain circumstances like a pandemic. But importantly, it's not an immigration law, which means to say it gives them no power to deport. So when they're using this law to deport individuals, they're doing so at the expense of other laws, like the right to apply for asylum for those who are in the United States. So this has been challenged legally. And just last week, a district court judge in Washington, D.C., found that the law gave DHS no power to deport these individuals, and they're misapplying it. So that is now an appeal to a circuit court.
And that's my question. I mean, is it correct to say whether what these people are doing is legal or illegal kind of open to interpretation right now? Because, I mean, it is legal to come to this country and ask for an asylum hearing. Mm-hmm. But Title 42 complicates that, correct?
Title 42 is the application of law that we're using for the first time ever. But what these individuals are doing by coming and presenting themselves to a border official and asking for asylum is lawful. That's what we want people to do. What we don't want people to do is to come in secretly and evade our border patrol agents. So this is the lawful process, but Title 42 frustrates that because it deports the individuals without having the opportunity to necessarily make that claim. So many of these individuals are coming here hoping to make their case, and maybe some of their cases are stronger than others, but that is being frustrated in contravention of our asylum laws.
With, of course, Title 42, but the other factors at play in Del Rio right now. We've seen migrant surges before. I believe the last time we talked to you here on this Q&A was during another surge. But this seems to be unique in that it happened very fast in terms of the thousands by which the number of migrants grew each day and the deportations happening extremely fast. What challenges outside of this Title 42 issue are at play right now that we may have not seen before?
Well, Secretary Mayorkas was in Del Rio today, and he mentioned that some of the Haitians may have been getting some false information about a TPS program that we have put in place in the United States. As I'm sure you're aware, there's a terrible earthquake in Haiti earlier this year, and the TPS was given to Haitians who are already in the United States, meaning you had to be here. I think the date was July 29th, 2021. And I think what Secretary Mayorkas was trying to say today is that some of these individuals were getting some bad information about whether they could qualify for TPS or not and coming to the U.S. But regardless, and I think the issue that we need to really think about as a country of laws is we have put into place this asylum process wherein we want people to come to a port of entry and make a claim, and then we'll treat them fairly. But now we're putting that aside because our circumstances have become different. We have a pandemic and it's serious. We have a lot of people at the port of entry, and that's dramatic. So the question is, do we put aside our rule of law and just say, well, that's good for when it's not a rainy day, but right now it's pouring and we just can't accept this. We're going to put aside our laws. And I think that if we just start shying away from our rule of law, then that's a very scary prospect for our future.
Talk about it. You said TPS, that's temporary protected status. It was, I want to say it was put into place by President Obama in 2010 after that massive earthquake in Haiti, that there was temporary protected status for people from Haiti coming into the United States. That has not been done this time around. Is there any type of talk that maybe that will be done in the future?
Well, I think they have done it. But if you've been here since July 29th, 2021, then you could qualify for a new TPS program based upon the new earthquake. But that would mean that these individuals had to be here already by that date and time, which they obviously have not.
Yeah, but would they? You don't see the Biden administration necessarily saying, let's give these people temporary protected status?
Right. No, because you had to be physically present in the United States on the day that happened.
Right.
Before we go here, I want to talk about the people who are allowed to stay, these migrants who are not being deported right now. We've talked to you about the backlog of asylum cases that already existed in this country. What is a realistic picture for those who are trying to seek a path to citizenship in the U.S.?
Well, I guess we talk about asylum, which is kind of got its own problems because the system's so stretched. But just generally seeking immigration status in the United States, a lot of things are starting to work again after a long delay of COVID-19 disrupting our systems. And what we're seeing now is embassies are starting to kind of sputter along and open up for immigrant visa processing, meaning the green card applications. And we're seeing those start to work again. USCIS here locally in San Antonio has done a pretty good job of processing some of these applications. So core immigration, like family-based immigration, employment-based immigration, that's working okay. The court system is still not really up and going, mostly because they have difficulties getting all the migrants in the courtrooms because they're all too close together and we don't know vaccination status. So some things are working better than others. So I guess if I was going to say something just generally about the legal process, stay tuned, have faith, check in with your attorneys, and hopefully things will start working again. And we're starting to see that start to happen already.
Lance Curtright, immigration attorney with DeMott, McChesney, Curtright, and Armendariz. Lance, always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
We'll be right back.